I debated doing this video for a long time. Aside from having a reputation that arguably sits it outside this series' hidden gem jurisdiction, Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love is precise, elegant, and, in my opinion, quite perfect. It speaks for itself, often without dialogue. Still, I think its genius is under-discussed, and I have a lot to say about it. If you have watched it, you know it's the kind of film that forces you to get introspective and personal when examining it. If you haven't, let me try and explain why you should. It's a universally broad story about the beauty and pain in life's most fleeting moments and connections. The enormous things once felt for people whose only presence in your life now is through forgotten trinkets and hazy memories. Its insights into repression, isolation, and longing have taken on a new, different power in these very isolated times we're in. The film follows two neighbors, Maggie Cheung's Sue and Tony Leung's Chow, who discover their respective spouses are having an affair with each other. As a setup, it's genius. It's the high-concept movie that can be described in a sentence, but not for a blockbuster. Instead, for a movie that has the space to plumb the depths of complicated human emotions, because it isn't beholden to exposition or formula. Both protagonists are stuck in rote, dead-end jobs they make every effort to escape from, sometimes with each other. They fake illnesses and go to the movies, they reminisce about the passions they've given up, settling into more financially secure married living. Claustrophobic framing and reoccurring locations, as well as the mournful, haunting two-song soundtrack, are employed in a deliberately repetitive way, conveying the numbness of routine and their environment, and how both are quite literally trapping them. They hide their emotions constantly, from everyone except, eventually, each other. In conversations, we often hold only on their faces, rather than intercutting between both speaking parties as is the norm. This allows us to carefully observe their social masks and the real emotions lurking just beneath them. Most of the discussion and dialogue in the film amounts to trivial small talk, but it's all performed and shot in ways that give it rich emotional subtext. Maggie Cheung and Tony Leung work within this microscopically subtle and complex rule set effortlessly. I've also seen very little discussion about the title itself, In the Mood for Love, and thus in the mood for a genuine connection. Surface-level carnal relations are suggested to be the solution for most problems by the supporting cast. But through the primary characters, we see with great clarity the emotional needs that weren't being met for them, and that likely aren't being met for those around them who have also settled. That the characters find a more meaningful connection in each other is tragically ironic, because it's something that can never be. They have moral standards that their partners do not, and their refusal to stoop to that level is one of the few things keeping their identities intact. Spoiler warning, I guess. They never so much as kiss, let alone make love. But their connection is still unmistakably unconditional love. In reenacting how they envision their spouse's affair together, and seeing this role play through to the point that they even play themselves learning the truth, they're selflessly taking on each other's fears, anger, and resentment, while feeding the feelings they've developed for each other. We see them care for and support each other in overt and covert ways, together and apart, for better and for worse, in sickness and in health. When I first saw In the Mood for Love at a young age, just beginning to crack the lid on an extension-charmed Tupperware's worth of classics, I wasn't a fan.
I know, I'm sorry.
I highlight this to illustrate you should never be too set in your opinions on a film. If you felt conflicted about it, watch it again and figure out why. It might surprise you when you know what you're in for, but not how you'll respond to it. In my case, I needed to get older, and listen, and pay attention to people more. In the Mood for Love does those two things. It listens, and it pays attention. It's a deeply attentive film to the subtleties of our behavior in emotionally compromising situations. The weird, even arbitrary little things your mind decides to hold on to in memories. Flinches, tenseness, the way someone walked or sipped their drink. This is what Wong Kar-wai is interested in, and this is what the film gets right. More right than anything else on the screen I can point to. It's a strangely graceful and ordered portrait of emotional disarray, subtle and fiery at the same time somehow. All of this to say, if you can afford it, open up your Amazon or your eBay or the Criterion channel and you put this bad boy in the cart or the queue. Send it to your friends, talk about it, make videos about it. I was wrong to be apprehensive, because unless we do all of that a lot with high-concept movies like this, we're only going to get high-concept movies like this. And that's if we're lucky, because sequels and remakes do not count. Thanks for putting up with me, everyone, and I'll see you next Friday.
唔係啊，就冇咩做，所以睇咗場戲。
係咩？好唔好睇啊？
麻麻地啦。
我舊時都好中意睇戲嘅。
你以前都好多嗜好㗎嗬。
自己嘅恩大把時間，想做咩咪做咩咯。結得翻就難啲㗎啦，唔係一個人話晒事㗎嘛，你都明㗎啦。 有時我喺度諗，如果我而家都未結婚，唔知會係點啊？你有冇諗過？
可能會開心啲啩。